fitting with Paul Tynan, who's in town. He's currently on one of our Gen X B flats. He's been playing it for a few years, but he wants to get refit and just assess where he's at on his instrument. When people come here, the first thing we do is we bring them into this room and we allow them to just warm up on an Edwards or their current horn, whichever they feel more comfortable on. I always tell people the first thing when they walk in the room, do your normal warm-up. People get excited, they come in here, and I'll walk out when they're warming up, and all of a sudden, you know, they're testing the limits of their range and the horn, and it's really hard to contain yourself. The first thing you do when you get here is just do your proper warm-up. I'm standing here with Paul Tynan now, who's the Associate Professor of St. Francis Xavier University, up north.
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia to be exact. Paul, can you tell me a little bit about your current setup, what you're happy with it and what you're unhappy? I always ask customers this, what you like about your instrument and what you dislike, because I'm trying to get feedback and understand where you're headed musically with your sound and what you're wanting with response. So can you tell me a little bit about your current setup?
Yeah, right now I'm playing a Gen 3X with BD1 lead pipe. It's a medium large bore, and I really like how it's playing and how it's treating me right now. One thing I feel that could be improved is, you know, I've been playing this horn for 10 years now. So, you know, as I've changed, my body's changed, my thoughts on music, playing how I play the instrument is more efficient. Maybe there's a horn that's going to be a better fit for me now, and that's why I'm here.
So whenever I start a fitting, I have a distinct order that I work my way around the horn with. I'll start with a lead pipe, which affects the response of the instrument. Because if I start with the bell, I might get the sound right, but the feel could just be horrible. So I really try and get the response and the feel correct on the face and match to the player as quickly as possible, and then work my way to the tuning slide on a Gen 2, B flat or C, and then work my way to the bell. So the sound is the last thing we're adjusting once the feel is hopefully as close to 100% correct as possible. So today, Paul's been on a Gen X. Would you mind playing us a little bit on your Gen X so we can hear what you're playing from? So that's what we're coming from. I'm actually going to, instead of fitting him to a Gen 3 or X, I'm actually going to do a little larger departure. And from this point on, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to write down the combinations and we're going to put it in the video. The reason I'm not going to tell you is whenever I'm doing a fitting, I don't like the player to know what they're trying. It's kind of like going to the eyeglass doctor where it's just better or worse, better or worse. And that way there's no bias established. That's the hardest thing about trying instruments is someone go, oh, this one's going to play brighter, and they hand it to you. Well, then you already think it's going to, it just establishes bias. Not good. So here we have a Gen 2, B flat. You can always know the bore. We stamp them on the third piston, really say 5/9 or 6/2.
Feels very good. It's a little tighter. It feels a little tighter than what I'm used to. Actually quite a bit better. The slots feel a little wider.
Okay.
The edge of the tone seems to have been rounded off just a little bit.
Okay.
Plays very similar to that. The slots are a bit wider still. It feels like the fronts of the notes are speaking a little bit sharper than they do on that.
Okay. Is that good or bad?
it just is.
Okay.
It would be something that I would have to control or get used to manipulating.
Do you prefer this or the last? Or do you want to go back and try the last one?
Yeah, let me try that back with the last one.
A lot of times during this process, you have to backtrack because it's hard to remember. Unfortunately, we're not elephants.
Faster.
From where I'm standing, the core of the sound is a little bit
thicker.
Yeah, it's a little broader than the last lead pipe. The last lead pipe was a little more pointed, from at least where I'm right here. In
right.
The near field, it's a little bit more pointed.
The sound seems to blossom on this horn a lot closer to me than it does on my Gen X.
Okay.
For what it's worth, that maybe that's just, I don't know. I'm not going to.
It's totally different design, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
So do you like this better, this lead pipe, or the last one?
I could see them being both really useful in different situations. This one feels like it would be more of a solo, like playing in a jazz quintet or jazz quartet, trio or whatever, a feeling instrument, while the other one might be better, like say playing second trumpet or even playing a little bit of lead.
Okay. Which do you want to play?
Well, you know me. I'm more of a jazz musician as opposed to a lead player, so this one feels like it would be the one to go with. See, the one thing that it does do besides the other one is it feels like that this one tightens up just a little bit more in the upper register. Now the middle register is pretty open and free-blowing, but when I get a little higher, it feels, I don't know, it feels a tiny bit tighter. And then the slots are different spots. Yeah, this feels really good right there.
Okay.
Really good.
In the upper register, are you wanting it to open up a little bit?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels like I can open it up myself, actually. Let me just try the other one more time, just to A-B it up there and see how that works. Yeah, this one is a little bit more stable, but the sound's a little bit more compact. For what I think the other one would probably be a better situation for me right now. Where this one I feel like in order to have that up there I need to back off just a tiny bit. It's maybe more surgical. Does that make sense? This one needs to be, I don't know.
I have found in certain situations you can make a horn hyper accurate, but then and it's like a Ferrari, but you miss the blossom a lot of times. You can get rid of some of the breadth or some of the interest in
that's
the resonance.
That's what I'm getting with this one. Accuracy versus the blossom, I guess.
Yeah. And it's always the mixture of the two. It's great to find a very accurate horn that's precise, but that has the resonance is the overall goal. I think the other one actually sounds a little better out
Okay,
here.
no, that's fine.
So, for what
I'm reading that way also.
Thank you.